Welcome to Boise Song Talk. I'm James Coberly Smith. Give me just a second, set this guitar down if you would, please. Thank you. Songs. What we're going to be doing on Boise Song Talk is we're going to be speaking with a number of the great local songwriters about how they write their songs. Now, they're all great live performers, and I encourage you to go out and see their live shows. However, we will not be emphasizing performance here. Instead, we'll be speaking with them about how they write their songs. Now, let's go over and meet tonight's special guest, Steve Fulton. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right, my friend, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit here as I describe you.
Okay.
First of all, I have learned since I've moved here what an integral part of this Boise music scene you are for a long time. You were in the high tops from 86 to 90. In the 90s, Hoi Polloi was voted the best band in Boise for 7 years straight by 3 separate publications. You received the Mayor's Choice Award for Excellence in the Arts, received a fellowship grant in Performing Arts from Idaho Commission on the Arts. You've been a part of several youth programs through the years, including the Community Youth Connection. And one of the projects you were involved in, you released an album with called Youth Speak Out. Very cool thing you did with Bill Coffey and Ned Evett. Very cool thing. You have a song on the Boise 150 CD. You've released many excellent albums on your own. And finally, you have helped so many other musicians in this town release great albums through your wonderful studio audio lab. All right, so the great thing, the fun part for me, Steve, was researching you, listening to all your stuff. The thing that I came away with is what an extraordinary singer you are. It's so unique.
Wow, thanks.
And what an extraordinary musician you are. I mean, I know you're a great songwriter, but these other things were, wow. So let's start here. When you were a youngster, was it obvious that you were a musical kid?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play band with things that were not actual instruments when I was about 6 years old. 6, 7 years old, and I remember, I don't remember, but I know that I said when I was 7 years old that I was going to be a musician. I never was really planning on anything else. And then my mother encouraged us to take piano lessons and said, you only have to take it for 1 year. If you don't like it, you can drop it. And I wanted to play drums. So I started, you know, the lessons, and I just was kind of like, oh man, I don't really dig this, you know. Piano's for sissies. It was so funny because that's really what I got from school, is, you know. So I never told anybody, but like clockwork, after a year, I all of a sudden was able to play this popular song, fell in love with it, and I never turned back. So I took 6 years of classical piano. And I taught myself the guitar towards the end of that, and I was using just, you know, friends asking questions, and, you know, is this a chord, you know, stuff like that. And I kind of taught myself how to play the guitar, and then through the years have just turned it into kind of my main instrument that I write with. I don't know why that is, because piano is probably my main instrument, but my main songwriting instrument is guitar. And so that's how
It's funny you mentioned that you were playing drums or something on all kinds of stuff around the house, because there is one of your songs where, if I'm not mistaken, you're playing a pizza box with brushes.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Is it Elevator? Is it that song?
Oh yeah, yeah, it is. It is Elevator.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I used to do some of that too, with boxes with aluminum foil on it. You know, you could get a good sound
It's
with
the
that.
best sound.
Well, we'll have to form out.
It needs to be an extra large, you know, pizza though. The small pizzas are not quite.
Yeah. Okay. So. Well, that's really interesting about that much time with piano. You had to have learned a lot there.
Yeah.
When did you first start thinking of writing songs?
I wrote my first song at a summer camp when I was about 17 with 2 other guys. That was my first thing. It was 4-year-long camp, so every year we got together and all this. And our last year we were like, we should write a song saying goodbye. And so we wrote this song, and it was called Goodbye. So it wasn't super creative, but it was, it was my very first thing. And then I started meeting songwriters, and it just got me excited about that. All the, where do these songs that I love so much come from? Somebody writes them. So through the years, I've just kind of tried to hone that craft. And honestly, I don't think I wrote a good song for 10 years. I think it took me 10 years to get to where I thought, okay, this is an okay song. But it took me quite a while to really get to where I felt like I was developing my interests through different styles. And so, yeah, I started, but didn't really, I don't think I got anything good for about 10 years. I think it took me a little while.
It's funny you say that. I always think that writing a song, any song, even when I'm doing it, you're trying to make it as good as you can, but even if it's not great, it's taking you one step closer to doing a great one next time. I think you learn something, don't you, from every time you write
Absolutely.
a song? I think you learn something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You learn things not to do.
Right.
And you learn things that when it does click, you take that to the next one and expound on it, that from a different subject or a different idea,
Yeah. So it sounds like what you were saying is when you write songs, you usually will use a guitar rather than a keyboard?
Almost always, yeah.
And when you write, do you usually start with music or lyrics first?
It's both, because sometimes to wind down at night, I'll pick up my guitar, I'll sit there and play around, and I like to play around with non-chords, ones that are open and non-shapes that you learn. There's the regular shapes, there's the E, the A, the D, the G, C positions that you can play all up and down the neck, but there's not anything really specific that's easy about all these open chords. So my thing was always, when I was learning the guitar, teaching myself the guitar, I'm trying to find these voicings that I thought were interesting. Michael Hedges was a big influence of mine as far as guitar playing, and he had all these crazy tunings and open this and that, and all these rhythmic things that I'd never really seen. And I picked up a lot of stuff from him. But I will start sometimes a song with just this thing that I came up with. And then I'll actually start melodies with just humming along with whatever that is. And then I'll, from that, come up with a lyrical approach. And I write down things all the time, so I've always got this big pile, and now it's files and files and, of ideas, and sometimes one will pop in my mind and I'll go back to it. But a lot of times it'll just come from that thing right then and there, and then it'll be gibberish almost, and then I'll just expand on it. Other times, I will literally, find some little nugget that gets me thinking. For instance, you had Pinto on this last show. When that guy talks, he speaks poetry almost, And so I can't tell you how many things that I got from just talking to Pinto. He says something and you're like, really? Did you just say that? And it was off the cuff always for him. It's not like he thinks about it. He's got some jokes that he tells over and over that I love. But
since you mentioned Pinto was on the show before you, I brought this thing with me I planned to use it on Pinto's show, and I forgot, so I'll use it now.
Nice.
Well, there we go.
Live. Could you please push that after I play?
You betcha. I'll keep my finger right on the button. There's other buttons, though, too. There's risk here, buddy. If I hit the wrong one, there's risk. But
forget it.
I'll think about it. Anyway, well, I tell you what. You feel like giving us a little one of these great Steve Fulton songs? By the way, SteveFulton.com is where you can go look for Steve's stuff.
Steve Fulton Music.
Oh, right, Steve. There you go. So thanks, Steve Fulton Music, and I think we'll have a graphic on the show as well.
Okay.
And also Reverb Nation, you have things up there, don't you?
I do. SoundCloud, I've got stuff on there.
Okay.
So yeah, and
good.
I'm going to be doing a record this year.
Good.
So I keep saying.
Good. Well, there's a lot of research that people can do on you, so look at all those places.
Okay.
They're all worthwhile.
Cool. All right. Thanks. just need a little time. I can't breathe when I think that we're over with. I just need a little time. I just came from the woods, didn't know what I'd see. Walking through the thick of the underbrush, hoping that I'd find me. I will need a little time to get over you. I will need a little time. I can't see through the fog till I'm out of it. I will need a little time. I just need my mind back so that I can start to think. And I just need my time back so that I can start to live. I just need a little time to get over it. I just need a little time. I can't breathe when I think that we're over with. I just need a little time. And I just need my mind back so that I can start to think. And I just need my time back so that I can start to live. I just need a little time. I just need a little time. I just need a little time.
Very nice, very nice. See that thing, when you go into that chorus, that melody is so cool.
Thank you.
The way it lifts up there.
Thanks.
And you do a lot of great songs on relationships and these questioning things and stuff, and you do it really well. And this is a real nice song.
Thank you.
When you write a new song, let's say when this was a new song, when you go to perform it for the first time, is it important to you what the reaction is the first time, or does it vary on the venue and all those things?
You know, it's funny. I used to play full time, six nights a week.
That's
and
right.
stuff,
You were
and
working.
Yeah, I worked a lot. Nowadays, I'm pretty choosy where I play, and normally I will pick my set according to where I'm playing, because I'll do a solo thing, I'll do a duo thing, I'll do a full band thing. I recently opened for Michael Franti and had a 7-piece band with this
Jeez,
big thing, so I pick the songs according to the venue, and I've done it long enough that I kind of go, okay, this song is not going to work, even though this is my new favorite one, which all your new ones are your favorites, it seems.
That's right.
I've gotten to where I know, okay, that one's not going to work here. That was just not going to work here. I played that song because it's a fairly new one for me, but it also I just kind of like playing it right now. You know what I mean?
I can see why.
It feels good, and I just want to share that feeling. And a lot of times when you have that, when the song feels so strongly to you at that time, it's not one that you played forever. It comes across like much more strongly because you've got so much in with it. So
do you find that with songs?
Did I answer your question at all?
No, sure.
Close, right? That was
There's
kinda,
no right answers here. But you took us to a whole nother thing. So do you find that your catalog, as you rotate through it, suddenly you're into this song again?
Yes.
Like that. That's an interesting thing you just said.
Yeah. That's interesting to me too, because sometimes I look back at my songs and I'm like, why am I not playing that song?
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that song.
yeah.
But, you know, they kind of get superseded by the new batch.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel like, you know, periodically you should look back at your catalog and say, this one needs to be brought back in because of what's going on with right now, you know.
Yeah. You know, see, you're a rare guest because you, as a recording engineer as well as a musician and writer, I'll ask you, when you are writing a song, given what a great producer you are, are you often hearing the parts for a song production-wise when you're making a song up, or does that come later?
Well, I don't think of it when I'm writing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, maybe there's a little bit of thought in like, what's this going to end up being? Because sometimes I find I'll be playing something, you know, like I have a song that goes like this. So it's a real pretty kind of acoustic guitar thing, you know? And I was convinced that it was acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded a kind of a first round of it, and something about the typical approach at a fingerstyle pretty acoustic guitar just was not doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm switching it to like a kind of a clean, buttery, hollow body electric sound, played the exact same thing, but using the sustain of that guitar to kind of fill up more of the space than having such an arpeggiation kind of thing. So I can do more like. You know, I can get away with more because of the tonal, you know, differences of the electric guitar and how much more it will sustain, and the differences that I can get out of it than I can in acoustic, which is funny because you know, it's kind of written like you want it to be that way, but for some reason. So sometimes I'll get into the song and it'll take on a different life. Sometimes I'll replace the guitar with a piano because it just seems to work. You got to try it out in the studio, kind of.
Well, yeah, especially because a guy like you could turn around and play on piano what you just played on there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people can't. So, but you're also answering something else I'd wondered about, and that is experimentation in the studio. You're coming to it, and you are sometimes it's unfolding as you're doing it.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It'll speak to you.
Yeah,
about what it needs
interesting.
to be if it's not working. Sometimes you don't know what's wrong, what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you're like, this is just not working.
Yeah.
You know, and you might have to go away from it and come back, or get another opinion too.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's jump quickly over to songwriters. If you had one piece of advice to give to a new songwriter, anything in particular you can think that you might say to them?
Well, I think I would tell a new songwriter to find their inspirations. I would say, always pay attention in conversation, because some of the most amazing things come out of conversation. I'd say when you go to the movie, always make sure that because a script in a movie's been scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed, and so every little passing moment has got this really eloquent way to say, "Hey, bud, how you doing?" They'd say it perfect. And then, of course, reading, same thing.
Sure.
They scrub those down until they're just right, and those are the three places that I seem to pick up, if not like literally pick out a little chunk of what just happened. It will just make me think of something else, and always write it down, because it's going to fly out of your brain as soon as you get out of the theater or you get done with that person. I mean, it's kind of annoying to some people, but I literally, take my phone out. It used to be a piece of paper,
right.
But I'll take my phone out and I go, "Hey, do you mind if you just said this thing, and I really love it, and out of the context of what we just did, it's got a lot of meaning for me," and I'll put it in my notes in my phone.
Exactly. That's a great new tool.
I'll come back to it later. Yeah.
Now, how about a similar question on recording? Let's say I'm a recording artist, and I'm going to come in, and I'm getting ready to do a recording. What advice would you give to an artist as they prepare to go in to record?
That's referred to as pre-production, and pre-production is more important than the recording itself. You pre-production, there's so many different things. I mean, I could sit here for an hour on pre-production with you.
Sure.
But the basic thing about pre-production is you want to make sure that you've trimmed all the fat, you know, so to speak. So you have to record it. I don't care if you've recorded on an old cassette tape, and you can listen back to yourself as long as you can hear everything. When you're playing in a band situation, so I'm speaking of a band situation, you know, you can't always hear exactly what everybody's doing and make sure that it's working with what you're doing. So it's really important to be able to listen back to what you're doing. And then you need to edit the version that's going in the studio compared to the live version, because, you know, in live versions you can meander a lot and it's great and it's fine. Nobody even thinks twice. But on a record you can't do that. You got to trim those little, you know, transitions got to be better. You can't have a 9-minute solo, you know. So pre-production will deal with many different things, but those are just a couple of them. And I you know, putting a term on it and talking with new recordists, you know, that are coming in to record their stuff, it's a real big thing that I try to drive home with them. A lot of times I'll get involved in the pre-production.
Excellent point. Thanks. What a, wow, what a wealth of info that was. Deb, I don't know if I want you to play another song. There's so much I like talking to you about.
Anytime.
I will. Yeah, go ahead. Give us. I need another song.
All
Put a little music in my ears, and I've got some more questions for you on your great album, Said and Heard.
Oh, right.
Talk about that album a little bit.
Glad you listened to that one.
I love that album.
Thank you.
Steve Fulton.
It's a dark day and it's over. Seems like it's over and over. Dark days never over. I wanna feel my pain. It's a long way to the future, knowing that you can be sure. Strong days in the future. It's gonna rain, rain right on you. It's gonna rain, rain right on you. There are those days thunders roll down, no way that you can know when that thunder's gonna roll in. It's gonna pour on you. If there's a but hope, then you will find it. Knee deep in perfect timing. That's when the sun comes shining. After it's so dry, it's gonna rain, rain right on you. It's gonna rain, rain right on you. But you can't do. If it's sunshine you need to find it, just past the clouds behind them. Get time until they're distant. After the storm moves through, seems like the sky is crying, the clouds are going flying. Next glance you see it smiling, that's when it all feels new. It's gonna rain, 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 rain right on you. It's gonna rain, 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 rain right on you. It's gonna it's gonna rain, 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 rain right on you. Nothing you can do right on you.
That is great. I could just already hear the harmonies, because you work with harmonies a lot, and I can just hear them in my mind in that chorus.
I did that song with Catherine from AKA Bell and Sean from New Transit and Todd from New Transit. And it,
co-writers? All
no,
you sang
the
it
harmonies,
with them.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I went, I'm gonna rain, rain.
Oh, yeah, I see, I can
There's all
already,
these
I know.
weird little things in there. So yeah, it was fun. That's a real fun one for harmonies.
All right. Well, here's the crisis.
It's
We're
fun.
heading toward the end of the show. Grab that guitar.
Okay.
Be ready, because I'm gonna now. I gotta jump over quickly onto your great album, Said and Heard. I mean, this thing, when I first saw it, I went, Said and Heard. I wonder what this is all about. And it turned out there's a real theme throughout this whole album about words. You've got on the opening song, you got sidewards, backwards, all the words I used to hear are forwards, afterwards, really cool. And then on the next song, Said and Heard, what I said, is not what you heard, and what you heard is not what I said. I woke up this morning just singing that thing with that vocoder sound that you used.
Right.
In fact, anyway, to be brief, because I have a lot of things I'd like to talk to you about with all that. But given that a lot of those songs are about words, did you have that overriding theme when you started the thing? No.
No, it was no.
Okay.
I was so surprised when I looked at. I had about 18 songs, and so I pared it down to that. I started picking the ones that I liked, and the next thing you know, I'm like, wow, every one of these is about, it's about, communication and miscommunication, mostly, because that is like the thorn in relationships, and that's just kind of where it went. I wasn't really trying to do that, so.
Great. I was very curious about that, because it's really cool. There's so many subtle things. I mean, even when you end, well, that's too much to talk about. But the sidewards tune, sidewards. You also do the cool thing with counter melodies at the end of this stuff. So you do so many musical things. I think in that one you had Bill Coffey singing a line, and then was there a third voice in there? Maybe?
Yeah, female voice.
Oh, they tell us, we got to wrap it up. Oh, gee, buddy.
Okay.
Play me some more music.
All
Play me
right.
some more music.
Thanks
Okay,
for
we'll
having
shake.
me. Thanks
Oh,
for
and here, go ahead. All right.
Okay.
There you go. Go for it.
Yeah. Speaking out, we see different gods above.